there.
Thank you. I first just wanted to say thank you. Thank you to Governor Scott and his wife, and everyone up here on this panel, and everyone here that is here today. You're being a voice for the voiceless, and this is huge. So thank you for that. It's appreciated. On a side note, like, never did I think 8.5 years ago that I would be standing on the same side as the police. And it's a little surreal for me, I'm not gonna lie. And that's great. A little bit about me. My name is Allison Good, and I'm the director of the women's ministry at the Avenue Church in Delray Beach, Florida. I'm also an advocate and a board member and a champion for the fight against human trafficking for Redeem the Shadows, which is a local nonprofit organization in Stuart, Florida. And it is my humble honor to be here today to share my story. And never thought I would be here, so that's another thing. I am now, these days, I know my worth, my value, my beauty, my identity is in Jesus. And it is a beautiful thing that I can stand up here and truly believe in. My life wasn't always like that. I didn't always believe that. I was born to demonstrate and declare to me as a very young age that I was unwanted and unloved, and that I was not valuable. And at a very early age, I was pimped out for drugs, for money, for sex. I was abused at a very early age, and that went on for several years. By the age of 9, I was a drug addict, and I was walking around my neighborhood as a zombie. And no one in the community, everyone saw me, and no one stepped in to do anything. And that went on for years. I started a prostitute, and I was dealing dope. I was running the streets. I thought that that was the only thing that I was worth. And that was the mentality, the emotion that I lived. And I did that for a couple of years. I had several abortions, several miscarriages, self-inflicted. I was locked up in juvie, and nothing came out of that. No restoration or rehabilitation except more anger. And from there, I started to join in with the pimps and pimped out other girls and manipulated anyone and anything around me so that the attention would be off of me. And that went on for years. I moved to Florida and continued. Things got a lot worse when I moved to Florida. I moved all throughout the state of Florida, actually starting in Miami, and worked my way up. And then I had a friend who we used to use together, and we would party together. And this friend of mine, she started to not party anymore. She didn't want to hang out anymore. She wasn't down anymore, and she started to smile. I didn't smile for the first 24.5 years of my life because there was nothing to smile about. And she started to smile, and I hated her for it. There was like this glimmer of hope that she had that I didn't like because I was hopeless. And I didn't know what that felt or tasted like or how to receive it. I was so filled with guilt and shame for things that were done to me and things that I was doing. And with that, she started to pursue me, and she started to tell me about a different way. She started to pursue me with patience and love that only comes from God. And I pushed her away. I was a runner, and I didn't know how to receive that or accept it, and so I kept pushing her away, but she kept coming back. And she was determined, and she didn't stop pursuing me. And that was God pursuing me through her. And finally, long story short, is one night I fell into a state of depression, and I just had another miscarriage, and I was laying there, and I was high, and she kept telling me to go to church with her, and I didn't want to go to church, so why would I go to church? And so she picked me up, and I thought we were going out, and she drove into a parking lot. It was the church, and I was like, "Are you a Christian? You don't lie to me." And anyway, that's a whole other story. And so we went in, and they started to talk about the fallenness in this world. We live in a fallen world, and yet God is renewing it, and there's so much hope that comes from Him. And so they would talk about the love of God, and I didn't understand, because why would He allow me to have the life that I had if he was a loving God and what was my purpose. I felt purposeless, and that I had no purpose. I didn't know purposeless is the word. Anyway, and so slowly but surely I kept going back, and she would just continue to talk to me, and she just kept telling me how much God loved me and how Jesus died for my sins and the injustices and the fallenness, and that I could be forgiven and also forgive the injustices that were committed to me. And what that looked like to finally have a glimmer of hope was radical. And I fought it. I fought it with everything that was in me, because like someone up here said, who knows what they're talking about, that you really feel like that is who you are, because that is what has been happening and spoken to you. But God could break that. And today I stand before you 8 years later, on the night that I prayed to receive Jesus. I had a pastor pray over me that God would deliver me from drugs and alcohol and never waste a single tear I've ever shed. And God hasn't, because I have a great purpose in this world, and that's to share his love with every single person, and his truth, and his grace, and his mercy, and to know my value. And so for the first couple of years, I didn't express to everyone my full story. That wasn't healthy or safe for me. I did it with a couple of few, and the church community surrounded me. And I went through every support group you could possibly think of, every counseling, and finally, slowly but surely, that freedom, the shame and the guilt started to break. And I started to work for the church. Like, that was mind-boggling for itself, because I never believed in Jesus before that, and never alone thought I had a purpose. And then I started to work with other girls and women. And, you know, growing up in the lifestyle I grew up in, you use girls and women. You didn't work with them. And that was mind-boggling. And so I know that there is a God, and I know that that is why I'm here. And I don't know ultimately, like, if that's the purpose that I had to go through all of that, but I know he's not wasting it, and I'm not wasting it. And so I stand before you today, 8 years later, with getting to do these wild and crazy things, like stand before you today and share this. And so I just wanted to thank you that there is hope for the hopeless and a voice for the voiceless. And so I'm really, really just excited that you guys are here and we're doing something that's so much greater than ourselves. And so we could get bogged down with the statistics, and we could get bogged down with all that's before us, but there's such a greater divine perspective that we could have, and to press on and to press forward in this mission. So thank you.
So let's finish first off. Thank you very much for the opportunity to be here. I want to thank everybody up here, but I want to especially thank Alice. Can't be easy. We can never let this happen again.